Welcome back to the Metabolic Compass podcast, where we recalibrate your biology and rediscover your direction. I'm your host, Brandon Soyko. If you've been on a journey to optimize your health, you've probably tried all the things: fasting, detoxes, supplements, sleep tracking, and nervous system work. But what if I told you that most people skip a critical domain of their biology because they don't even know it exists? Today, we're talking about withdrawal, the least understood domain in the Metabolic Compass, but arguably one of the deepest consequences when it's ignored. This episode will unpack the 3 hallmarks of withdrawal drift, epigenetic alterations, disabled macroautophagy, and altered intercellular communication, and help you figure out if your biology is trying to pull back because it's overwhelmed. Let's dig in. Let's imagine you're standing in the middle of a crowded room with thousands of people all talking at once. You're not in danger, you're not sick, but you can't think, you can't focus, and eventually you shut down. That's exactly what happens in your biology when the withdrawal domain begins to drift. If you've been following the Metabolic Compass, you already know that the body operates as an interconnected system, each domain acting like a directional force. Nurture is about safety and immune grounding. Energize is about fuel processing and resilience. Strengthen is about repair and regeneration. But withdraw, this is where your body pauses to reset. It's the system's ability to step back, recalibrate, and let go of what's no longer needed: damaged cells, toxic inputs, misfiring signals, or even outdated gene expression. When withdrawal is functioning well, you feel clear, centered, and in sync. You feel light, mentally sharp, and emotionally regulated. But when this domain starts to drift, the body doesn't crash, it clogs. So what does drift in the withdrawal domain look like? Unlike inflammation or energy crashes, withdrawal drift is quiet. You don't hear sirens. You just lose the signal. So here's how it usually starts. You feel foggy, tired. You're wired, but not alert. Your digestion feels off, but not painful. Your mood feels flat, but you're not sad. Your body starts sending scrambled messages, and no one's sure who's in charge. This isn't dysfunction in the obvious sense. It's communication overload, detox stagnation, and signal loss between your cells. We call it cellular static. And it often goes missed because people chase louder symptoms like fatigue or joint pain. But by the time the other domains are screaming, withdrawal has already shut down quietly in the background. Let's quickly preview the 3 hallmarks we'll explore more deeply in this episode. Epigenetic alterations. These aren't mutations in your genes. They're changes in which genes are being read and which are silenced. When you're under stress, your biology may switch on pro-inflammatory, disease-prone programs without changing the DNA itself. Disabled macroautophagy. Think of autophagy as your cellular garbage and recycling service. When it's impaired, your cells hold on to damaged parts, metabolic waste, and broken proteins that should have been cleared. Altered intercellular communication. Your cells talk to each other constantly using chemical signals. When this communication breaks down, your immune system misfires, your hormones miscoordinate, and your brain struggles to interpret what your body is asking for. These 3 disruptions don't happen all at once. They build silently, they layer, and they distort everything downstream. This is why withdrawal drift is so tricky. It doesn't yell, it whispers. And those whispers get quieter over time until one day you realize you don't feel like yourself at all. So why is this domain so overlooked? Most of what we think of as healthy interventions actually stress the withdrawal domain further. Intermittent fasting, when done too frequently, intense exercise without recovery, overuse of stimulants or nootropics, forcing productivity when the body is asking for stillness. And because we've trained ourselves to equate doing more with being better, we override the signals to pause, detoxify, and realign. But those signals aren't weakness, they're wisdom. In the next segment, we'll talk about the first hallmark, epigenetic alterations, how your biology starts misreading its own genetic code when overwhelmed, and how that translates to real-world symptoms. If you've ever felt like your body was acting out of alignment with your efforts, this is the place to start. Imagine your DNA as the master library of your biology. Every book in this library contains instructions: how to regulate inflammation, how to produce neurotransmitters, how to repair mitochondria, how to grow skin, bone, muscles, or neurons. But here's the catch. Your body doesn't read every book all the time. Instead, it selects which books to open and which pages to read based on your environment, your habits, your stress level, and even your emotional state. This is what epigenetics is all about. It's not the genes you're born with, it's how those genes are expressed. And when your withdrawal domain starts to drift, that genetic reading system gets confused. The librarian loses track of which books to pull, the wrong pages to get read, or worse, important ones get skipped altogether. So what does epigenetics actually mean? Epigenetics literally means above the genome. It refers to the chemical tags like methyl groups or histones that attach to your DNA and influence whether a gene is turned on or off. These tags don't change your DNA sequence. They just determine how your body interprets it. Think of it like sticky notes on a cookbook. Some recipes are bookmarked for easy access. Others are covered up entirely as if they don't exist. Your environment writes those sticky notes. And over time, if you're under chronic stress, not sleeping well, eating a poor diet, exposed to environmental toxins, or emotionally dysregulated, your body starts bookmarking the wrong genes. That's when symptoms show up. One of the first signs of epigenetic drift is that protective genes go quiet. Anti-inflammatory pathways get downregulated, tumor suppressor genes get silenced, mitochondrial support genes get skipped, and detoxification enzymes decrease their activity. Meanwhile, harmful programs may get switched on. Inflammatory cytokine production increases, estrogen dominance or cortisol resistance takes hold, genes related to chronic diseases become more active. This doesn't mean your DNA is broken. It means your body is reading the wrong pages and no one told it to stop. So what does this look like in everyday life? You've cleaned up your diet, but your labs still look off. You're more sensitive to stress than you used to be. Your skin, hormones, or hair health has shifted suddenly. You can't handle alcohol, caffeine, or certain foods like you once did. Your emotional baseline feels heavier and less resilient, even without a major trigger. These aren't random. They're signs that your internal operating system is out of sync with the life you're trying to live. And until you recalibrate the withdrawal domain, your biology will keep running outdated or unhelpful programs. Can you rewrite the epigenetic script? Yes, but here's the catch. Epigenetics is responsive to your environment. It doesn't change overnight, but it does respond to consistent cues over time. Things that help reset epigenetic expression include sleep, especially deep, uninterrupted sleep that allows for genetic repair, methylation nutrients like folate, not folic acid, B12, choline, and betaine, butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that acts as a histone deacetylase inhibitor, meaning it helps reopen silenced genes, time in nature and grounding, hormetic stressors like short bursts of cold exposure or light fasting, emotional processing, because trauma and stress imprint epigenetic markers too. This is not about detoxing your genes. It's about restoring the cellular context so your biology can remember how to read the script properly again. The field of epigenetics is no longer fringe science. It's showed up in oncology, neurology, psychiatry, and even fertility research. In fact, many cancer therapies now target epigenetic pathways not because the genes are mutated, but because they're being misread. So if you've ever felt like your body wasn't responding the way it should, don't blame willpower. It might be your epigenetic bookmarks. In the next segment, we're diving into autophagy, your body's natural cellular recycling program. You'll learn what blocks it, what restarts it, and why you don't have to do extreme fasting to activate it. If you've been dealing with brain fog, bloating, or slow recovery, this is the missing link. Imagine if you never took out the trash in your house. Day after day, you just kept piling up old food wrappers, dirty laundry, broken gadgets, and half-finished to-do lists. At first, it might just be a little messy, but eventually it becomes overwhelming. You can't think straight, you can't find what you need, the environment becomes toxic. This is exactly what happens when your body loses its ability to clean up at the cellular level. That cleanup process has a name, autophagy, which literally means self-eating. But don't let that word throw you off. Autophagy is not destructive. It's restorative. It's how your body clears out old damaged cells, misfolded molecules, malfunctioning mitochondria, and cellular debris. And when it works, it creates the condition for regeneration, clarity, and resilience. But when you're drifting in withdrawal domain, autophagy goes offline, and the cellular trash just keeps piling up. So what is macroautophagy really? Autophagy happens on multiple levels, but the most well-studied form is macroautophagy. Think of it as your cell's janitorial crew. When a cell detects something broken, like a damaged organelle or a misfolded protein, it wraps it in a membrane, creates a little garbage bag called an autophagosome, and then merges it with a lysosome to break down and recycle the parts. This isn't just maintenance, it's critical for survival. Autophagy helps regulate inflammation, immune response, metabolism, and even your brain's ability to clean out waste during sleep. So what happens when it stops working? When autophagy slows down or stops altogether, you lose that internal reset signal. This leads to accumulation of damaged mitochondria, increased oxidative stress, protein clumping, which contributes to neurodegeneration, slower healing and recovery, cellular senescence, zombie cells that refuse to die, premature aging at the cellular level. Most people don't even know it's happening, but they feel it. You might notice constant low-grade puffiness or inflammation, feeling clogged mentally or physically, recovery from workouts or illness taking longer than it used to, trouble focusing or staying alert, cravings you can't explain even after a meal, or hormonal irregularities that aren't responsive to standard protocols. It's not that your body is broken, it's that the trash is piled up and your cells need space to breathe again. So what disables autophagy? Autophagy is sensitive. It's tuned by your lifestyle, environment, and metabolic flexibility. The biggest blockers? Constant eating or snacking, no metabolic pause. High insulin levels, insulin suppresses autophagy. Poor sleep, especially lack of deep, slow-wave sleep. Overtraining without recovery, too much stress equals no time to repair. Nutrient excess, especially when protein and carbs are constantly elevated. Toxin overload, your cells are too busy trying to neutralize threats. If you're always on, always digesting, always inflamed, there's no chance for repair. So can you restart autophagy without extreme fasting? Yes and no. You don't need to do a 5-day water fast. You just need to build in signals that tell your body it's safe and ready to shift into repair mode. Some proven ways to stimulate macroautophagy include 12 to 16 hour overnight fasting windows, early time-restricted eating, for an example, finishing dinner by 6 or 7, exercise, especially resistance training and HIIT, done with enough recovery. Polyphenols like EGCG from green tea, quercetin, or curcumin. Sleep prioritization, because the lymphatic system, the brain's cleanup, activates during deep sleep. Nutrient cycling, alternating between nutrient-rich and light intake days. And butyrate, shown to help regulate autophagy pathways and support mitochondrial turnover. It's not about starving yourself. It's about creating the right oscillations, the metabolic rhythms that alternate between building and clearing. What's powerful about autophagy is that it gives you control, even if you've been inflamed, fatigued, or metabolically stuck. Even if your labs are normal, but you know something's off, you can teach your body to reset again. It starts with a pause, a breath, a signal of safety. Because autophagy doesn't happen when your body thinks it's in survival mode. It only happens when it knows it's safe enough to clean the house. You've probably heard the phrase, communication is everything. Well, that's not just true in relationships, it's true in your biology too. Your body is built on billions of microscopic conversations happening every second. Cells whisper instructions, tissues send alerts, hormones, cytokines, neurotransmitters, they're all part of the message traffic that keeps your system coordinated. But when you're in withdrawal drift, those conversations start to break down. It's not that your body doesn't care, it's that the message are either too distorted, too delayed, or completely drowned out. And when that happens, you lose your internal alignment. Your immune system overreacts, your metabolism misfires, your mood spirals, and no part of your biology knows what the others are doing. So what is intercellular communication? Every organ, tissue, and system in your body has to be in constant dialogue. That includes endocrine signals like insulin, cortisol, and thyroid hormone, neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, cytokines and immune messengers like IL-6 or TNF-alpha, peptide hormones and signaling molecules like leptin, ghrelin, or irisin, exosomes and microRNAs, tiny particles that shuttle genetic and metabolic info from one cell to another. This is how your body makes real-time decisions, adjusting energy, inflammation, growth, repair, or more. So what disrupts this signal? When these signals are clear and calibrated, you feel calm, capable, and in sync. But multiple things can distort the channel. 1. Chronic inflammation. Inflammation is like background noise. It drowns out the normal signals. Over time, receptors become desensitized and messages don't land. 2. Hormone resistance. Think of insulin resistance or leptin resistance, not a lack of hormone, but a lack of response to the hormone. This is like shouting into a void. 3. Cellular senescence. These are the zombie cells we've talked about, cells that refuse to die, but keep sending toxic signals to surrounding cells. 4. Nutrient toxicity or deficiency. Without the right cofactors, your cells can't build or receive the proper messengers, like trying to send a message with missing words. 5. Disrupted circadian rhythms. If your biological clock is off, your signals get out of sync, like a relay team running on different schedules. 6. Environmental toxins. Heavy metals, endocrine disruptors, mold toxins. They all act like static on the line. When the signals break down, every part of your body starts to operate in isolation, and that's when things start to unravel. So how would you know if this is happening? Here are the common signs. Brain fog that doesn't improve with sleep. Mood swings, especially feeling flat or emotionally numb. Poor glucose control, even on a healthy diet. Immune overreactions, rashes, sensitivities, histamine issues. Chronic fatigue with no clear diagnosis. Thyroid labs that look normal but don't match how you feel. And increased food sensitivities or chemical intolerances. You're not crazy, your body isn't failing. It's just trying to coordinate without a functioning control tower. You don't have to fix everything at once. You just have to restore signal clarity. Some strategies to start. Early morning light. Reset your master clock and synchronize hormone signals. Deep sleep prioritization. Most immune recalibration and lymphatic cleansing happens in slow wave sleep. Reduce inflammatory inputs. Gluten, seed oils, alcohol, or histamine-producing foods. Support bile flow, which helps clear toxins and supports gut-liver signaling. Mitochondrial support, since energy is required for all signaling processes. Movement and circulation, including rebounders or gentle yoga to stimulate lymphatic flow. Polyphenol-rich foods, berries, turmeric, green tea, to repair cellular damage and improve hormone sensitivity. Targeted compounds like butyrate, shown to reduce inflammation, improve mitochondrial function, and regulate epigenetic messaging. Withdrawal isn't a shutdown, it's a static overload. When your body enters withdrawal drift, it's not giving up. It's overwhelmed. The channels are jammed, the signals are crossed, and your biology is asking for stillness so it can sort through the mess. Clearing that static isn't about doing more. It's about simplifying the inputs so your cells can finally hear each other again. Let's move from the cellular science to the lived experience, because most people don't walk around saying, I think my epigenome is misfiring, or my macroautophagy process isn't completing. What they do say is, I feel heavy, I'm not bouncing back, just don't feel like myself anymore. That's withdrawal drift. Not the kind that shows up on a blood test, not the kind that gets flagged on your annual physical, but the kind your body feels deeply when cleanup systems are jammed, stress loops stay active, and there's no true off switch in sight. Withdrawal drift often begins with a strange kind of numbness. You can still function, you can still get through your day, but it's like your internal dashboard is unplugged. You stop noticing when you're hungry, or tired, or stress. You can't tell the difference between wired energy and calm presence. You feel removed from your own instincts, as if your body's trying to talk to you, but the signal's muffled or scrambled. This is one of the most dangerous stages of drift, because it becomes easy to override. And when you can't feel the feedback, you lose your compass. You feel inflamed, but also numb. This is the paradox of withdrawal drift. You might wake up puffy, swollen, achy, but you're emotionally flat. It's not that you don't care, it's that you can't access the bandwidth to react anymore. This isn't laziness. This isn't a lack of motivation. It's a biological traffic jam, a state of stagnant inflammation where your immune and nervous systems are constantly on but going nowhere. You're not moving forward, you're just treading water. And no matter how many rest days you take or how much you sleep in on weekends, it's never enough. You sleep but wake up groggy. You rest but don't feel recovered. You take a break but still feel behind. Your system has lost its ability to complete the repair loop. The inbox is full and the cleanup crew is under-resourced. And over time, the weight of that unfinished repair shows up as chronic fatigue, brain fog, irritability, low resilience, and sensory overload. One of the most under-recognized signs of withdrawal drift is histamine sensitivity. Here's what that might look like. You get flushed or itchy after meals. Certain wines, leftovers, or fermented foods trigger headaches or congestion. Your seasonal allergies worsen. Your tolerance to supplements shrinks. You react to things you used to take without an issue. Histamine isn't just about allergies. It's a wakefulness and alertness molecule. If your body is struggling to downshift, detox, or clear inflammation, histamine builds up. And that makes everything feel more reactive, inside and out. You're slowing down but not resting better. This one's subtle but important. Your energy is dropping. You're canceling plans. You're turning down opportunities. But it's not because you're prioritizing rest, it's because you feel like you have to. And even when you do rest, you're not getting the signal that says, we're good now. That's withdrawal drift. It steals the reward from recovery. It keeps your nervous system slightly on edge, your lymphatic system undermoving, and your detoxification efforts half complete. You're putting in the time, but not getting the return. So what does all of this add up to? Withdrawal drift doesn't always scream. It whispers, it nudges, it accumulates. It's the feeling of being stuck in limbo, of being aware that something is off, but unable to put your finger on it. And the longer it goes on, the more likely it is to pull down your energy, your resilience, and your entire metabolic rhythm. But there's good news. Once you recognize this drift, you can reverse it. And that's exactly what we're going to cover next: how to restore withdrawal function and reduce the cellular static without overcorrecting or doing too much too soon. Withdrawal drift isn't fixed by trying harder. It's not about stacking more hacks. And it's definitely not about blasting your body with aggressive resets or extreme fasts. In fact, doing too much too soon can make this drift worse. The path back is quieter, gentler, and surprisingly powerful when done right. First, you have to understand what withdrawal is designed to do. This domain isn't about doing, it's about undoing. Autophagy, detox, DNA repair, inflammation resolution. These are off-mode processes. They require the body to feel safe, resourced, and ready to let go. So when your system is always in on mode, juggling stressors, skipping recovery windows, overriding cues, these critical off-mode processes never complete. The goal here is to signal safety and slowness while gently nudging the body to begin clearing again. Top strategy number 1, fasting mimicking cycles. We're not talking about jumping straight into a 72-hour water fast. Instead, look at fasting mimicking protocols, short, periodic interventions that replicate the cellular stress of fasting without full deprivation. These can include time-restricted eating, 12 hours off, 12 hours on, or 14 off, 10 on, to start. Low protein days or calorie tapering. Intermittent polyphenol support during fasting windows. What you're doing here is triggering the autophagy signal, the body's internal housekeeping system. When done gently and cyclically, it reboots your ability to clean up damaged proteins, cellular debris, and inflammatory signaling. Top strategy number 2, polyphenol-based autophagy support. Certain polyphenols, naturally occurring plant compounds, can mimic the effect of fasting at the cellular level. The most studied include resveratrol, activates sirtuins, supports mitochondrial cleanup. Curcumin, modulates NF-κB, lowers inflammatory load. EGCG, supports AMPK activation and cellular cleanup. Quercetin, senolytic properties and histamine regulation. These aren't quick fixes, but they can be layered into your rhythm to support gradual restoration. Think of them like signal boosters for your cellular cleanup crew. Top strategy 3, bitter herbs for bile flow and lymphatic activation. The body's drainage pathways, bile and lymph, are the unsung heroes of the withdrawal recovery. When your bile is flowing, your liver can offload toxins more efficiently. When your lymph moves, your immune cells can circulate and resolve inflammation more effectively. Bitter herbs like gentian, dandelion root, artichoke leaf, and burdock can stimulate bile flow and digestive readiness. These compounds interact with taste receptors and vagal signaling to prompt the liver and gallbladder to release stored bile. Meanwhile, lymphatic activation through dry brushing, movement, breath work, or sauna helps move the waste out that your cells are finally ready to release. It's not enough to initiate autophagy. You also need to complete the detox. Top strategy number 4, sleep-based circadian repair. One of the most overlooked repair tools in this domain is simply sleeping in alignment with your circadian rhythm. Cellular cleanup doesn't just happen during sleep, it's timed. Your brain's lymphatic system clears out metabolic waste at night. Your liver detox genes turn on in rhythm with your light-dark cycles. So if you're staying up late, exposed to artificial light, or waking frequently, you may be blocking your own repair window. Anchor your sleep to the light. Morning sunlight within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. Dim lights and screen filters after sunset. Eating dinner 2 to 3 hours before bed. Keeping sleep and wake times consistent, even on the weekends. Top strategy number 5, nervous system downshifting. Remember, withdrawal recovery only happens when your nervous system is out of survival mode. So try HRV training with slow exhales or resonance breathing, gentle somatic movements like stretching, qigong, or walking, body temperature contrast therapy, not intense ice baths, but warm to cool transitions, quiet, tech-free evenings to reduce overstimulation. You are not trying to optimize here. You're trying to let go, so your biology can return to baseline. This domain responds best to subtraction, not addition. When you're in withdrawal drift, you might feel tempted to detox harder. But what your biology actually needs is completion, not intensity. Less noise, fewer stresses, more space. If you remember one phrase for this domain, let it be this: overriding the signal doesn't heal the system. Listening to it does. When your biology is whispering that it's overwhelmed, inflamed, and exhausted, withdrawal is the domain trying to help you listen. Let's pull together everything we covered today. The 3 hallmarks of withdrawal drift. When you're drifting in this domain, it shows up in 3 key biological processes. Disabled macroautophagy. Your internal cellular recycling system is stuck. Instead of clearing out old damaged components, your cells hoard junk that keeps them from functioning well. Epigenetic alterations. Your gene expression becomes chaotic. Inflammation, oxidative stress, and lifestyle inputs flip switches in your DNA that weren't meant to stay on or off forever. Altered intercellular communication. The chemical signals your cells use to talk to each other become scrambled. Think of it like static on a radio. Messages are missed, misinterpreted, or never sent. That's why you can feel exhausted but wired, toxic but numb, and off in a way that's hard to describe. Your body isn't broken, it's stuck in a feedback loop with no way to complete the cycle. What withdrawal drift feels like in real life? It's disconnection. You feel flat or overstimulated or both at once. Maybe your motivation is gone. Maybe rest doesn't feel restorative anymore. Maybe you're noticing migraines, rashes, histamine reactivity, or sensitivity to supplements and scents. Your system is reacting more, repairing less. And when you finally slow down, maybe for a vacation or a long weekend, it doesn't feel like a clean slate. You're still carrying the residue of stress. That's withdrawal drift. It's what happens when your cleanup crews are burnt out, your cellular inbox is overflowing, and your biology can't find the off switch. So how to restore withdrawal function? The repair process doesn't require more hustle, it requires more harmony. Here's what works: fasting mimicking rhythms that activate autophagy without draining your reserves. Polyphenols like resveratrol and curcumin that support repair signaling. Bitter herbs and bile support to activate detox pathways and improve lymphatic flow. Circadian sleep hygiene to reinforce cellular timing and DNA repair. And HRV training and nervous system downshifting to create a biology of safety. The golden rule here is less is more. When you're in withdrawal drift, you don't push harder. You clear the static so your body can do what it's built to do: restore balance. This is the domain of subtraction, not stacking. Most wellness advice focuses on what you can add: more supplements, more protocols, more hacks. But withdrawal is different. This domain reminds you that health isn't just built by doing, it's rebuilt by undoing, by creating space, by removing friction, by turning down the noise, and maybe, most importantly, by no longer overriding the signal. If you resonated with today's episode, it might be time for a withdrawal reset. Here's the next step. Take the Compass Drift Quiz at themetabolic-compass.com/quiz to find out which domain you're currently drifting in. You'll get a custom report with real insights and a 2-week reset protocol tailored to your biology. No fluff, no overwhelm. Just a grounded way to course correct. If this episode hit home, you won't want to miss the next one. Episode 25, How to Rebuild the Nurture Domain When You're Fried, Fragile, and on Edge, dives deep into what to do when your baseline safety signals are gone. We'll talk about why inflammation, gut dysfunction, and genomic instability often show up first, how to rebuild your baseline using real tools, not wishful thinking, and why pushing through doesn't make you resilient, it keeps you stuck. It's one of the most foundational episodes of the entire season, so if you're feeling like your system is just over it, join me next week. Until then, recalibrate your biology and rediscover your direction. You've been listening to the Metabolic Compass podcast, where we bridge cutting-edge science with real-life application to help you reclaim your health one directional shift at a time. To learn more, visit us at www.themetaboliccompass.com or follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Metabolic Compass. And if you haven't already, leave a review. It helps others find their way back to alignment too. Recalibrate your biology, rediscover your direction.